ASL Prime League.
Welcome back. A little bit of change of plans. Unfortunately, Fury has come over with an overwhelming case of being a little bit sick. So he has unfortunately had to forfeit the spot, which means we go straight on to our winners match, which is going to be between these two players. The first room up in the top right-hand corner of Orbital Shipyard is our green Protoss Bones, which would make this player down the bottom left a purple Terran by the name of QXC. Now, got a pretty close eye on him to see what he's gonna do. Start with, looks like nothing too crazy, but he took a little bit of a break from the competitive scene, of course, a while back, but looks to be returning in full force in Legacy of the Void, with lots and lots of strategy write-ups on Team Liquid and a couple of solid results in the Legacy of the Void Archon mode tournament. I think coming joint first along with Huck and MC, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was the Axon boys. Either way, did some really cool games there. Pulled out some awesome new creative one-base ghost builds and the like, but looks to not be what he's going for this time, with a factory being his tech choice here. So a lot of options here, of course. The good old Widow Mines are as much a thing as ever, although they do now have a little bit of a targeting beam, making them a little easier to micro against, or rather possible to micro against, because you can actually see where they're going to fire. Hellion drops as well, still a possibility, possibly even a little stronger, given that Photon Overcharge has been reworked slightly, changed to affect pylons rather than the Nexus, and of course a much shorter range. I mean, you can actually avoid it rather than just kind of it covers their whole base. But we'll see. Tech Lab is the first thing to go onto that factory, so maybe something completely different. I haven't seen a Liberator build versus Protoss. I haven't seen Liberators used at all, really, versus Protoss. But I suspect that is for good reason, because they're not that hot. Either way, first Adept coming out now for Bones. Looking to try and get a little bit of harass down to QXC, I guess. Yes, of course, Cyclones. Of course, that makes sense. I was thinking there was something that was new from the factory, but couldn't remember because it is 3 AM and I've been at work all day. Scan goes down and it's going to see all it really needs to, namely that Bones is producing an Oracle. Also sees the sign on that forge if QXC was paying attention right at the end, but not that big a deal. Scan now does of course cost 100 energy, so despite the fact that mules don't use energy anymore, it is quite a bit of kind of time investment saving up to actually be able to use that scan, and they do recharge quite a bit slower, and you can only store 2 at a time per order command, so all a little bit different than how we're used to. But QXC immediately getting the Cyclone upgrade, which increased their fire rate. They've changed around what this upgrade does so much. Bones, though, you know, Adepts are pretty good. Let's just get a bunch of them and just one Zealot to make it like a little bit of a Zealot and his harem of Adepts. Cool. Oracle came in, kind of didn't get too much done and went back on out again. QXC was very much prepared for that. Of course, Bones doesn't really want to get too close in range of any of these Cyclones. If they lock on, it is very, very difficult for an Oracle to escape, especially if it gets a little bit too far into base. Revelation did go down. It saw obviously these production buildings for QXC, as well as keeping a bit of tabs on his army. And speaking of army, just about as soon as that expires, as that Revelation expires, QXC moves out with a handful of Marines and a couple of Cyclones, and going to be going hunting, possibly with that Oracle, possibly just straight across the map. Looks like it's just going to be heading straight across the map, put a little bit of pressure down onto Bones, just as Bones starts his Nexus at the third base. Now, a few Phoenixes coming out. Phoenixes are pretty good against Cyclones, but with the Marine support QXE is bringing to the table, I kind of suspect they're not going to be doing quite so hot. But we will see that. A little bit of a battlecruiser assembly facility here. I've never really noticed that. It's pretty cool, though. But for now, QXE is moving on in, taking down what he can. But yeah, those Phoenixes lift up the Cyclones. But without too much to actually do anything else, yeah, they just kind of take them out of the fight for a while. And that lets the Adepts work their magic on the Marines. And boy, do they do that well. They're going to be able to chase them down as well. No escape for these Marines if Bones is actually... Okay, no, there is going to be an escape for these Marines because Bones isn't going to chase them down. But 3 Marines get out from that force. Definitely not effective from QXE. Bones reading into that. All he needed to, really. And Adepts provide that extra bit of shoring up of early game defense that Protoss really needed, allowing Photon Overcharge to be a little weaker defensively. Plus, of course, those Phoenixes really just completely removed the high-value Cyclones from the fight. That really formed the backbone of QXE's little push out there. Marines just forming as a little bit of DPS and tanking for the Cyclones to be able to poke away. But now, Bones swoops in, lifts up a couple SCVs, building command centers, which provides some great pickups there, and nice Revelation is going to be able to keep an eye on basically everything QXE does for quite some time. A scan, though, does the same for QXE as that Revelation has been doing for Bones, and he sees Chronos going down on all sorts of things. Bones actually... there we go. He's started it up again. But yeah, upgrades being chronoed out. That's Adept Shield upgrade coming out as well. And a rover being added on. Possibly just for detection, possibly for Gossi, or maybe even Disruptors. We could see them being used a bit more, but Phoenix just flew through and got a couple of extra workers, but took some fire from missile turrets. QXE is going to have to commit a little heavier on the missile turrets, I think, if it really wants to contest Bones' Phoenix flock, because it's up to 8 Phoenixes now, and that's going to be a lot of energy being recharged, a lot of various things. Revelation goes down on those units there as well. QXE is going to find it difficult to pull off any surprise drops with that down, but you know what, surprise are going to be tough for Bones as well, because another scan is going to see Bones is breaking down these structural rocks at the back here. Possible sign he's moving towards the 4th base, because otherwise you're kind of just breaking down some rocks to make yourself a bit more vulnerable, and that's usually bad. But the way shield upgrade now comes in on those Adepts, bringing them up to horrendously high amounts of health. 140 shields and 90 health. Provides a huge barrier for anyone to break through. Yeah, QXE is going to have to contend with that. Lots of Marauders in this army, because they're a little bit more effective against Adepts than their light cousins, the Marines. Adding in a couple of Widow Mines as well. Producing them 2 at a time is always good, because that's twice as good as producing them 1 at a time. And Adepts with their very high... I think get all of their shields stripped away from 1 Widow Mine hit. Or at least direct Widow Mine hit, though. So I don't know how it goes with the splash, but... Of course, Widow Mines with their bonus damage to shields do pretty nicely against Adepts, but Adepts kind of have ways of avoiding them a little bit more than Zealots do. They do have some kind of range, so they don't actually outrange Widow Mines. But Bones moving on in here. The Oracle just manages to survive, but Bones looks like he's going to try and take an engagement. Couple hits on those Widow Mines, but there's the Adept warp. Warp into their shades there, and attacking up that ramp, not really something he wants to commit to, it looks like. But got a fair bit of damage done, and he gets out, losing a Phoenix on the way. But another huge warping of Adepts there. How many was that? 8 Adepts just warped in, I think. I mean, there's 10 gateways, so it could well be that or more. And yeah, Bones goes again for all those ghosts. Going to be fighting a little inefficiently for a while, but now, as the big crunch time comes, boom, straight on top of all that bio. They're going to be decing out all of the damage they can. Sentry tries to get a bit of tanking done, and a huge warping of Adepts as well from that very, very quick warp in, 2-second warp in, and yeah, it's just cleanup duty really for the reinforcements from Bones, as QXC. The Marauders are doing all they can to hold on against this, but as the Medevacs start to run dry of their energy, the Marines that have been able to provide their DPS start to get picked off with these Adepts. Bones is actually just about getting pushed back. Yeah, he managed to make the escape with his Adept shields, but yeah, it looks like QXC's, those Marauders end up being pretty good against Adepts, despite not getting the bonus damage. Adepts, a lot of their bonus damage is, or a lot of their damage is from bonus to light. But you know what? Behind this, Bones has managed to cover his attempt at a 4th, and QXC is going to try and make that attempt part a little more relevant in a little while. But he's going to find that tough to do. High Templar up now. Storm is done as well, and that's going to provide the extra little hit those Adepts maybe needed. A couple of Photon Overcharges go down on the pylons there, providing effectively 3 Photon Cannons worth of DPS. And QXC scans there, doesn't really want to attack into it. He sees the High Templar, kind of suspects the Storm is done, and Bones is going to just have a little scout around with those Adept Ghosts before returning them to their bodies. QXC, though, he's loaded up for a drop, but Bones are the perfect scout with those Adepts. He's going to see it coming, should warp in a couple of High Templar, should be able to feed back those Medevacs before they even get a chance to land, but that won't actually fully kill him just yet, so we'll need to do a little more than that. There we go, warping about up to High Templar will do that nicely, but QXC moving in. Oh, the Adept, no way to avoid those Widowmines. Huge amounts of splash damage. I love these Adepts falling almost solely to the Widowmines, and QXC now can push forwards onto this base. The Immortals that have been added on to try and contend with those Marauders aren't doing too much just yet. QXC has gotten into great position with this drop as well. Although the Medevacs has lost a lot of energy to those High Templar, which now morphed into an Archon, there's still, Bio has some great DPS, and it's going to be able to clear up these last couple of Adepts. Just one more Adept remains, but actually, you know what, it might just be able to take on 4 Marines. Last Stint is able to take it out, and it's just a single Marine with a couple of Medevacs here, but Orphan of Adepts overkills that, and then some. And yeah, these Immortals, especially with the use of their new Hardened Shield ability, are more than able to clean up all of the Marauders. QXC moving in with a few Widowmines, maybe trying to aim, not aim for a run by so much as just a little bit of a surprise. Nasty surprise for Bones, as and when he actually moves over that little trap set up there. And Bones does have his Immortal's Hardened Shield ability on autocast here. Hardened Shield has been changed a little from the wings from Heart the Swarm, where it reduced damage taken on Immortal Shields to a maximum of 10. It now provides a very high temporary shield to an Immortal, making them... oh, Liberator. There is actually a Liberator up here for QXC. This is going to be super tough for Bones to deal with. Photon Overcharge doesn't reach it. You're going to actually really need some air units to be able to get onto that. It's very, very annoying here, and QXC has already killed off 10 workers with this single Liberator. It does need vision to actually be able to fire, which is why it's not able to quite hit that single pylon there. But QXC actually, oh my god, so many ghosts here, and another huge couple of Widowmine shots here. Blank EMPs, though, so good against those Adepts, relying mainly on their shields, but if they actually get on top of the ghosts, EMP removes friendly energy as well, and QXC doesn't really want to risk losing all that, and he's just going to lift up and try and drop somewhere else. But preemptive warping of Stalkers from Bones. But this Liberator finally taken out by a Phoenix. Not before it racks up a lot of kills for itself, though. So very much worthwhile there, production from QXC. And he's going to go on home with his army. 2 more Liberators. Double Liberator production coming out now from QXC. He really wants to make use of that space control. Oh man, these Widowmines get some value shots. With the Observer having been taken out a little while ago. He's going to come back over here, and they're finally going to clean up the Widowmines. But they've definitely done their damage. And QXC is very much taking an anti-adept way now, with a lot of ghosts being mixed into the army. He's stopped production for now. I think possibly sensing that Bones is going to be moving away from adepts a little more, but I don't know. I still think it's pretty valuable. Oh, big storms there. Kill off a lot of QXC's bio, and QXC's really only fighting with half his army. It looks like he's not paying attention at all. Now looking back to his army, he sees he's in a bad situation here. Storm of those Widowmines takes all of them out as well, and this is not good news for QXC. He's got the Spanish Fortress to help him defend, but Oh, these 4 Immortals are going to tear the Planetary Fortress down so quickly. Liberators, bit of space control is exactly what QXC needs right now. And here come the targeting circles. They are going to force Bones to run away. And Liberators are going to pick off a little bit on the retreat. But QXC, he doesn't want to stick around here too long. And Adepts actually managed to bypass the space control of the Liberators. But the Liberators picking off the high-value units, picking off Archons as they go in. And the Adepts look like overstay their welcome a little bit. QXC moving on forwards, but a huge reinforcement warping from Bones, and QXC has to fight in range of those, in the range of effect of those Liberators, but Bones cannot afford to take the damage off. So for now, just a little bit of stalemate there. QXC showing that the area denial, defensive power of Terran is alive and well, although Bones' army is strong. But these Liberators move on forwards and manage to get some solid damage down onto an Adept, but now they're back off. Bones has a warp prison to reinforce with, and actually a DT moving on towards this base, but QXC has all his bases well defended. Very comfortable building planetaries at all of them as well, which is a little interesting. Maybe that's just a new Legs Divide style. Mules have lost a little bit of efficiency, but it is only a little bit. 5 minerals per trip. They're back down to their good old actual Hearth of Swarm days, but one extra point about orbital commands is they can actually only cast mules within 30 range. A couple of Liberators get taken out after taking down 7 probes. Not super efficient there for them, but it's something. And yeah, so QXC has to think a little more about where he actually wants to build his orbital commands, because he can only use them on nearby bases. Hence, I guess, all the Planetary Fortress using that. But QXC stepping forwards aggressively, hit once more here. Can't quite actually fight it, and wisely cancelled there on the Ghosts by Bones. But QXC, oh ho ho, what's this I see up here? It's a Nexus. I don't think it's going to be for long though. Yep, QXC moves forwards, and he's going to pummel that down very rapidly. Although actually turning around and fighting Bones' army is not going to be a great decision from him, as his army gets cleaned up very easily. But opens up an avenue for QXC to come in the other side, and GG, says Bones. Okay guys, welcome back. Is game 2 here between these two players. The first one of whom is spawning over on the left-hand side of Bridgehead. In the green chunks, it is Bones. Possibly a fan of spooky, scary skeletons. I'm not a fan. They're too scary for me. But over there on the right-hand side, we have the man himself, the Red Terran QXC. Showing really strong styles throughout the game in our previous map. But this is Bridgehead, a little bit of a different one. We'll see how Bones opens up here. QXC already has the wall off, and Bones sending out that early Pro Scout, cutting his economy, of course, a little bit, as it always does and always will, I suspect. He's not really going to be able to get the full dividends of it, because QXC is just not going to let him into his base. All Bones is really going to confirm is there's not any kind of crazy cheese going on here. And then he's just going to be annoying, really, with this probe, trying to get a bit of damage down on that depot. I guess the only time that's really relevant is if you're planning on going for a Baneling Bust and want to get that little bit of damage so you can kill it with 4 Banelings. But I don't think we're going to see Bones going for a Baneling Bust. Even in Legs to Void. Now, the QXC, though, he's found much more success with his Worker Scout, and it's gotten all the way into the base. Bones is going to be prevented from putting down the Nexus for quite a while, until the Zealot comes over and really chases that SCV away. And even then, QXC being very annoying with this, and actually Bones sending that probe a little further away than it really needs to go. And, oh, a bit close there. But QXC does confirm the Nexus goes down. He will almost certainly lose this Worker as the Adept comes out. If he doesn't lose it straight away, he'll lose it as the Adept goes across the map with that zoomy ability. But I think it only needs 1 shot to kill this SCV now. It's been reduced down to enough health, so we'll find out. Boom. Ah, no. Wait, how much? 2 health. That's weird. I'd have to do like 23 damage to life. That is an unusual number of damage to like to do. But one more ghost and one more shot, and bada bing, bada boom, easy peasy. But QXE pumping out some marinas, and yup, it's a Widowmine drop. Because Widowmines are always good, especially against Processes and even in Legs of the Void. But Bones hasn't spotted this yet, but you have to get your robot at some point in your build for that mobile detection, so he's getting it. And scan from QXE reveals that. And yeah, it's loading up 3 Widowmines though. It's a pretty heavy commitment. He's looking like he's going to try and drop in towards the natural base, where Bones has a little bit less of his army concentrated. So that could well turn out to be a good decision for him, especially if he can keep the army down in the south, keep Bones' attention down on the south side of his base with this little marine poke out. Even though he will likely lose all these 6 marines, if the medevac actually gets into place and drops those 3 Widowmines in the mineral line, then it will have been all worth it. So QXE comes in with these marines, very nicely timed out here so far. Marines actually just poking and scouting around, but the Widowmine drop comes in. Actually, one of those was a Hellion, not a Widowmine. Does go off, but into the assimilator, so not too much done there. Another one managed to get 2. Oh, no, okay. Bones sends them back, and both the Widowmines get out of there. The Hellion did die, but I don't know, 2 probes for a Hellion, probably just about worth it. Especially considering, considering the loss of mining time as well, I'd say it's pretty well worth it there for QXE, but doesn't want to come back in. Adepts do kill Widowmines just a little too fast for his liking, I guess, but he can always stick around, maybe try and find an angle somewhere else, possibly into the natural, but for now, QXE's Marines have all returned home safely. There's another Widowmine moving out. Might burrow itself on towards the... I think going on the 3rd base would be really good, because so far Bones has been very good at actually transferring his SCVs, but yeah, the Adepts are going to try and deal with these Widowmines. Oh, actually, don't manage to get the second one, so 6 kills with that one Widowmine. Very, very nicely efficient there. QXE's not going to be able to get it out, though, so yeah, just gets that medevac out, so that's pretty good for him, though. QXE is also going to borrow this Widowmine on the Nexus position. I would actually prefer him to borrow it in the mineral line. Although he may not know this, Bones has been oversaturating his other bases and then transferring down in one big load to the 3rd base when he takes it. And that's perfectly normal. That's the normal way to do things. But the extent to which he's been doing it would mean one big Widowmine shot could easily take out 12 probes. Whereas now, Bones' 3rd Nexus will be a little delayed, sure, but he'll know that the Widowmine was coming. But either way, speaking of drops, Bones is coming in here with a Warp Prism loaded up with a Disruptor. But oh my god! Bones is playing with fire. That incredibly expensive Warp Prism managed to get away with just 4 health. So very good defense there by QXE so far. Bones is moving around. Disruptors have had a little bit of rework since I last looked at one, but damn, they look cool. Sending out that Purification Nova. Does a little bit of damage to the front wall, but nothing too important, nothing too fancy. QXE, I think he's going Warp Prism hunting with this medevac, which could be pretty cool. But Bones is actually sending this all the way back home so far. There was another Disruptor back at home. Yep, right here for Bones. And we'll see how well he's able to actually use that, able to make it do anything for him. But Disruptors look really cool now. Either way, QXE has taken the slightly more unusual choice of 3rd base, I would say. But it's pretty cool. I think this is this is one of the options more available to Terran than the other 2 races, I'd say, where you can take this slightly more forward base and parade pressure onto the 4th base, or even the 3rd base on this map of Bones, as you get that kind of horizontal push, which you can use to secure this high ground 4th base location, and from there, the high ground looking on to the 3rd, which can be a bit threatening with QXE. He's coming with that drop. Getting driven away by a pylon with Folk Nova Charge on it for now, though. And we'll move on out just as soon as Bones comes in with the mainstay of his army. But transition towards Storm has already been made. Bones is going to really be forcing QXC to split quite heavily. And that should be something that his adepts can take advantage of quite nicely. We'll see, though. For now, it's just the typical sort of Terran, little bit of drop harass, maybe a tiny bit of drop harass back from Bones. Oh, actually, I think I missed it. We missed the disruptor drop. Doesn't seem to have been too effective, though. Bones going to load up a fresh disruptor. Still in a very damaged warp prison, though, and try and find something doing. QXC moves in with this drop again. Just 4 Marines here, but these 4 Marines are going to do quite a bit of damage before they actually get taken out. 6 probes go down for the cost of 4 Marines, and the medevac might just make it out. No! Bada bing, bada boom. 2 Stalkers will remove that from the game. However, this warp prism is making its way in here. Going to try and find something. This is not the angle you want to go in, though. Oh, Bones sees it. QXC sees it. And he's actually just going to blow up that ramp a little bit again. But QXC, ever vigilant, just repairs it, keeps it on going. Bones really needs something else if he wants to really do some damage with those drops. But he has to be so careful with that warp prism on such low health. Disruptors, very expensive, like 300, 200, so they don't half cost a lot. Maybe even 100, 300. I seem to remember them costing the same as 2 High Templar, and that would make them 100, 300. But QXC looking to get aggressive here. Bones throws down a bit of a preemptive Photon Overcharge on this. But Photon Overcharge only lasts 30 seconds on pylons now. So a preemptive one is not that great. QXC, I think, wants to come around and attack from the high ground rather than going into Bones' army. Bones does have a disruptor with this army. So one big disrupt hit could really shake things up here for QXC. The adepts are going forwards, but I think there's something Bones is going to cancel. Yeah, there we go. Goes to return back to the adepts. Another drop though for QXC. He takes out that photon cannon. And he's focusing down the pylons as well, because not only is it good to focus down pylons in general, but that prevents Bones from having anything to cast pylon overcharge on. And the Nexus gets focused down by both the Marauders. These adepts, with all their shield tankiness gone, are going to be focused down as well. And QXC done great damage to this drop. But oh my god, I think he took a huge purification over here, because that's a lot of dead bodies down here on the south side by the third base of Bones. And QXC is going to have to back off, but he has done serious damage to Bones. And that drop is actually still going. But now it moves away. Bones, though, looks to be pushing on forwards. Purification Nova is up on both of these disruptors, so possibly some serious damage here. Liberator is in position to try and defend here. And seeing that, Bones is going to pull back for a little bit. But this disruptor goes on forwards. Oh, the lock-on on the Cyclone might be able to take out the disruptor. No, there's a little bit of damage to it, though. And that's certainly going to help out. But Bones doesn't want to step too far forwards. One Purification Nova, doesn't manage to find anything. Time on that quite a bit shorter, so it is very limited range. You have to be extremely careful with your positioning on those disruptors. And yeah, QXC, with a couple more Liberators coming in, is going to be able to really lock down this area and completely stop anything moving up that ramp. But QXC actually looks to be going around for a bit of a flank here. A few Widowmines will be setting up in an advantageous location, but QXC moves in here. The Disruptors, Purification Nova goes down, but doesn't detonate them too much. But the Storms, though, they're what's really doing damage there for Bones. But some big Widowmine hits are going to do quite some damage. Looks like not enough there for QXC, and his army goes down. Bones pushes on forwards. These Liberators are going to have to reposition if they actually want to be useful defensively, because now Bones is pushing in towards the fourth base for QXC. Meanwhile, a drop goes down for QXC. Nothing doing though. This is all eventually going to get cleaned up by that mothership core pulling down on the Marauder, and they don't really have enough damage to do anything too much more. QXC positioning these Liberators in great spots here. Bones, oh, that Widow, yeah, okay. Boom, that was not really what Bones was looking for. Not so much for Boom as just to like, oh, well, I'm dead now, but GG. Bones is pushing up this ramp, though, the one without Liberators deployed on it. But the Liberators redeploy rapidly, finds... he's got a little bit of a fleet of Liberation now, does QXC. 5 of them, so he can really afford to get them in some great positions. Up here on this high ground, defending this. Wow, he really locks that down with 3 Liberators all on that same location. I believe Liberators can fire on each other's shot locations. We'll see though. A couple of Stalkers do go down there. But blinking on forwards. They are going to be able to take down this base before it actually gets on. QXC moving on back. He really wants to actually be able to fight in that liberation zone. Because as an honest, God-fearing American, that's what matters to him. A little bit of an EMP goes down there and gets some damage done. QXC is going to be moving forward with a few of his Liberators, just pushing that zone forwards. Bones actually overstaying his welcome a little bit. He's going to be taking some serious damage here. Really can't afford to be fighting in this area control that QXC has. As if it wasn't a dangerous enough zone, QXC moves a couple of Wintermine forwards. And because, you know, aerial bombardment is just not enough. Sometimes you need a minefield and aerial bombardment. QXC pushes a Liberator a little further forwards once more. Has to be very careful about these High Templar. One big EMP could really change things up for QXC, and he does have a couple of those ghosts in the army. But Bones is moving on around, I think, looking for high ground position. QXC, though, he senses it coming. A few missile turrets coming down. But Bones actually looks to be feinting back towards his own base, because QXC is running in with his army here. And the Wintermines aren't going to be able to get too much done, but the rest of the army might be able to make up for that little bit of wastefulness. And QXC now approaching max, really. I think he's actually just lost Fumes, taken out of max. Can very much afford to trade and then remax. Making these supply efficient trades, doesn't have to worry too much about cost efficiency. And oh my god, a complete sandwich takes out all of the High Templar. QXC coming in with the Liberators as well. GG, a little bit more than Bones can handle, and QXC advances in first place with a very easy 2-0 from this group.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.